Hi, this is Ryan again with Automatic Comics, and I thought it would be kind of fun to just break up my unboxings between slab books and raw books. So I've got a few books that have arrived in the mail that these are ungraded books, and so these are ones that I will probably send in to be graded, but obviously I need to evaluate them first and see if it seems worthwhile to send them in. So I'm gonna open these up. Now you can see there's a variety of packaging that I've gotten. I've got two that came in what look to be like Gemini mailers or Uline mailers or something similar. One that's in one of these very thin white envelopes, which I do not like to see, and then one that's in one of these manila envelopes. It feels like there's cardboard inside, so that's a little better, but still not ideal. My preference is obviously that they come in something like this. That's how I ship mine. For even more expensive books, I'll ship them inside of a larger priority box just to give it that extra layer of protection. But so first one here, I mean, generally it looks like everything's okay. It doesn't seem like anything was damaged, but we'll see when we open it. I don't remember what's in each one of these, but okay, it looks like they did at least put some cardboard inside, so that does help, just to give it a little more stability. But okay, so this one, I bought this one specifically to send it in to get graded because I was kind of interested in what the grade might come back as. So it's a pretty famous cover. So what it is, it's Amazing Spider-Man number 55, and you can see that what it looks like is that someone at some point drew like a mustache onto him, and with a signature, and a date. So I was kind of curious how that would impact the grade. So I thought maybe I would just, I'd throw the dice and, spend the, $50 to get it pressed and graded, give or take $50-$60, and just to see what it comes back as, because it otherwise looked like a pretty nice copy, maybe like a 7.5, something like that. So you can see, it has, I don't know if you can see in the light, but it has some spine ticks, and all that, and so it generally looked like that. So I was curious what this would drop the grade. I'm going to have to, obviously, like I said, I'll take it out and fully inspect it. But this one I plan on sending in regardless, just because I'd like to know what the impact actually is to the grade with that. So I just think it's funny that they drew it like a mustache. Because when I talked to the seller originally, they thought it was part of the cover and didn't realize that that was something somebody had drawn onto it, and actually, is then therefore going to lower the grade of the book. So, but yeah, so we'll see what that one comes out as. This one, okay, no cardboard, but a bunch of backing boards and an extra book. I never complain about getting a free book, so I guess that's kind of the part of the packing material. It's the weird number 1, but yeah, no, that's cool to get a free book. Now, this one I am going to look at very closely because I'm curious how high I think it might be a pretty high grade copy. So this is Adventure Comics number 428, and it's the first appearance of Black Orchid, and it at least online it looked like a really high grade copy. Obviously, I need to spend a little bit more time looking at it. I think it's above a 9, but I'll have to inspect it to see if there's any like small tears or any creases on the back or staining or anything like that. Because when it comes to a book like this, that's I think kind of from the more or less like the mid 70s, it really does need to be a pretty high grade copy for me to justify getting it slabbed. So. I know a lot of people they'll get something slabbed regardless, but for me, I want it to be for me to be worthwhile for that investment to spend the money to get the book pressed, get the book graded, and that I'm not spending more than say the book is already worth. So yeah, so it's a cool first appearance cover, yeah. But I thought it was one that I would see what the grade was when I got it. So then the next two came in these, Gemini-like mailers. Whether they're Gemini mailers or not, I can't tell for sure. But this one has plenty of tape on it, so it'll take me a little moment to get it open. Just a little bit more still. That. And then inside, it's nice. Just it's got the the painter's tape, which makes it a little easier to open. Okay, it's kind of interesting. It's like it's a Gemini mailer, kind of inside of another Gemini inside of another Gemini mailer. It's like part of a Gemini mailer inside of another Gemini mailer. But like I said in one of the other videos, like it's always interesting to see how these books get shipped. But you can see here, like, it's got, tape holding it in place, and it's painter's tape, which is nice, because then it's a little easier to pull back, and then I'm not afraid that I'm potentially adding damage to the book trying to get this, this tape off. Because that's always, one of the biggest concerns with shipping is you don't want to have a book that they're not making more of these, there's only so many of them out there, and if you damage one, then that's that's just a book that's never gonna be in that condition again. And so I don't ever want to be the reason that that happened. So now this so here's where I've got tape that's on the bag, so I've got to try to get that off. And again, I'm gonna be a little cautious with it because I don't want to damage the book. Because it's a pretty nice book. It's a Amazing Spider-Man first appearance. Gosh, tape. Okay, there's that one. That's another. I always like to give little tips throughout these things. Just another tip for when you're shipping books. Less tape is usually better. Just because you add more tape doesn't mean it's more secure, because you're potentially making it that much harder to get into the book or get to the book, and then you can end up having that book being damaged. So you can see this one is Amazing Spider-Man number 41. This is the first appearance of Rhino. I've never had this book before. I've had a few copies of number 42. And I have a copy of 43, but I've never had number 41. So I was pretty happy to get this one. It looked like it was a decent mid-grade, maybe a 5, something like that, 5 or 5.5. So I plan on getting this one graded. I'm gonna have to look through it, make sure there's no cutouts or anything like that, just to make sure that everything's complete. Because that's the last thing you want to do when you send one of these books in is have it come back as a 0.5 or incomplete or something like that because you missed something when you were before you sent it in. So then the last one here, again, this doesn't look like a Gemini mailer. I think this is one of the U-line mailers. They're just a slightly different shape, but they work all the same. Yes, this is a U-line S165 mailer. So this one's shipped real nice. You've got the U-line mailer, and then inside of that, they then also have the book sandwiched between two pieces of cardboard. So, and they use painter's tape, which is always nice. One other thing that you can do that's not done here, but that is helpful to someone when they're opening one of these boxes is to create little pull tabs basically with them. So you just fold over the end of the piece of tape, like this, so that when somebody goes to take it off, they just have this little tab to pull, and they don't have to try to, screw around with the tape to get it off the cardboard. But painter's tape is pretty easy to remove anyway, so it's not nearly as big of a deal as it is with some of these other, like packaging tape or something like that. So there's that, and then you can see it's also taped in. And let's see. So, and then this person does what I do, which I really appreciate. So you can see that they only taped 3 sides, and so they didn't tape the side that has the spine on it. And while it's unlikely, it is possible that if you put tape there and you're applying pressure there, that you could introduce additional spine stress. And so, again, you never want to be the reason that a book gets, at least for me, I never want to be the reason that a book gets damaged. So I do really appreciate that they ship their books like that, because that is how I do it. And then one last piece of tape. I still don't know what this one is. I'm not sure. Okay. That's the book that I was just talking about. So this is, it's got another piece of painter's tape I just want to get off here. This is strange. This is 2 books in a row that they've taped it. They've taped the flap on the front. I don't ever see that. Just again, one of those things where I'm worried I'm gonna introduce damage to the book. So I'm gonna flip that around later. But so this is Amazing Spider-Man number 42, and this is this looked like a really high grade copy. So I wanted to get this one and definitely send it in for grading. The only thing that I wasn't sure about, and I still can't tell even though I'm right up next to it, is that if you can see down here, see that little mark there on the bottom? It's like a white circle kind of thing. I don't think it's a hole, but I can't tell. I don't know if it's something that, I don't know what it is. And so I'm gonna have to look at that one a little bit closer, but otherwise, like, you can tell, like, the spine on this thing is just, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe like 6 spine ticks. Corners are really sharp. You can see, the corners are really sharp, and so just everything you're kind of looking for in one of these books. So the only downside is this piece down here, and like I said, I'll have to check out what's going on there. It also has a little bit of a soft corner down on this edge. But one interesting thing with this book is that it does have one printer or manufacturer printer defect, and that it's only got the top staple. So it doesn't have a bottom staple, but there are no staple holes. And so that doesn't impact the grade at all. So if it's something, if you're ever wondering about when you see a book, if it was manufactured without the staple, they'll notate it on the slab, but it will not impact your grade. Now you'll want to be a little more careful when you're flipping through the book, because it's not going to have that stability on both sides, so you're more likely to introduce stress on that top staple, but it's not going to impact the actual grade when you get it graded. So yeah, cool book. This is, if you're not aware, this is the first time that you see Mary Jane's face. It's also got that famous line where she calls him Tiger, that kind of thing. So that's kind of the key thing with that book. First time you see Mary Jane's face. This one, first appearance of Rhino, and he's right on the cover, so it's pretty obvious. Then we've got Venture Comics 428, which is the first appearance of Black Orchid. And then the last one is this Amazing Spider-Man number 55, which is the first appearance, or not first appearance, it's just a famous Doc Ock cover. Yeah, thanks again for checking out the video. Some, few cool Amazing Spider-Man books, a cool Adventure Comics book, and just a variety of packaging techniques. So thanks again. Bye.